You don't notice the city until it dies. One soft pop, and every hum in your apartment exhales at once. The oven clock goes blank. Your phone becomes a nightlight, a tiny moon in your hand. 3%. No bars. Outside, the skyline turns to a field of black hills. In the hall, only the exit sign glows on its own battery, sickly green, like a survivor. You tell yourself it's temporary, but your chest hears otherwise. You've never seen your place this still, like furniture holding its breath to listen. Your phone vibrates. You don't expect it. There's no service. The notification says it's from your own number. Time-stamped 5 minutes from now. 2 words. Put on your shoes. You look down at your socks. Grit on the kitchen tile like beach sand. You don't plan to leave, not in a blackout. And not because a glitch tells you what to do. Still, your body moves first. Closet door, sneaker laces, double mott. The text feels like memory with a head start, and you hate that you obey. Another buzz. From you again. 4 minutes ahead. Fill the tub. If the water slows, stop. You laugh once. Because why? Then you turn the tap anyway. The first cough is brown, then clear, then steady. The tub skin turns to ripple glass and copies your face in pieces. In the walls, the pipes talk like tired throats. You listen hard to hear a reason and find none. The water is a clock you can see. You let it run until a worry you can't name says enough. The third message lands with less warning, as if the future is jogging to catch up. 3 minutes ahead. Don't open your door if they knock twice. It reads like someone's final note, taped to a door you haven't reached yet. You lock the deadbolt anyway. Your palm comes away with a dust of old metal. You stare at your door, peephole a dark coin. In the hall, a battery light flickers, the way a person might flicker if they were trying not to be seen. Footsteps, the kind that don't sneak. A voice outside, friendly, casual, rehearsed. Utility check, all good in there? You step close, without breathing. Your phone warms your hand. It buzzes again. 2 minutes ahead. Say you're fine. Don't ask them to come back. If they chalk your door, wipe it. Your mouth goes automatic. We're fine. Silence. A polite kind. And then the dry, scratchy rasp of chalk at your peephole. A single stroke. Then another. After that, 2 knuckle taps on the wood. Pair by pair, they leave. Or at least the footsteps do. When you open the chain just enough to glance, your door carries 2 white lines, neat as tally marks. Aye. You wipe them with your sleeve. Chalk coats your cuff, cold and slick like coins. Your phone pings. Don't stand in front of the door at 3:17. You check the time. 3:11 a.m. The number stings. Not because it's late, but because your phone still says 3%. Stubborn, like it doesn't believe in math anymore. You kill your lights out of habit. Then remember the power already did that for you. Across the courtyard, a candle drifts window to window, floor to floor, steady pace, like someone measuring distance with fire. It moves through empty glass boxes and pauses in front of one. Your floor, opposite yours. You step back from your own window and feel foolish for stepping back from glass. The city outside is a map of places that forgot your name at once. A siren sounds, not a wail, 3 precise notes, clean as a doorbell far away. It doesn't show on your phone as an alert, no banner, no tone history. But you feel it in your teeth, a tuning fork pressed to bone. Your phone buzzes instantly. Shut the window. You close the latch. The glass is cold on the inside. The chill travels through your knuckles like a rumor. You hold the latch a bit too long, the way you hold a hand to keep someone from leaving. But another message lands sooner than the last. Time shrinking. Don't see the peephole after the second pair of knocks. You hate that it says after. Your mouth dries. You step away from the door because that feels like a choice. The hallway's battery light flickers again. Your ear finds the seam around the door and hears an ocean of empty air. You try to think about anything else. All you think about is peepholes and eyes and whether they look back. 2 knocks. They arrive like the timer on a bomb no one told you about. 2 knuckles, polite, almost apologetic. You freeze. You stare at the peephole so hard, your vision embeds it, a small dark planet at the center of your view. The air under the door carries a draft you didn't know your building had. You tell yourself the advice is superstition from a stranger with your number. You do not look. The silence after is worse than the sound. The second pair comes softer, lower, like knuckles wrapped in a shirt. The sound is wrong, like a person kneeling to get closer to your breath. A smell comes with it, chalk and cold metal, a penny between teeth. Your phone vibrates and stays bright, a message that feels like a hand on your shoulder. Turn off your screen. Sit with your back to the tub. If they slide anything under the door, don't touch it. You obey because you want the voice to stay kind. You settle on the bathroom floor, screen dimmed but not dead. The apartment becomes a shell around you. The hallway beyond the door isn't a hallway. It's a lung holding a single breath. A soft scrape breaks it. Something thin slides under your door. It stops against the rug and clicks once, like teeth. You don't move. You look without looking. 2 short sticks. Chalk. They rest where your toes would be if you still trusted the door. 3:16 a.m. The minute no one names. Pipes throb above you. Somewhere a toilet tank refills on ghost pressure. Your phone won't lose that last battery bar, as if it's trapped on the number 3. You think of battery icons as little hearts and hate yourself for it. In the tub, the water quiets and becomes a mirror. The room grows colder without the decency to admit it in air. You stare at the chalk until it feels like bone. 3:17 a.m. The three notes again. Closer, like they learned your hallway. Your lock trembles. The deadbolt turns toward open, stops, turns back, like fingers unsure of their strength. In your dark phone screen, you catch yourself doubled, a second shadow behind your head that moves when you don't. You shut the screen completely. The darkness is total. You wait for the after image to burn away. It doesn't. It settles into the room with you, patient and tall. Silence, heavy and present, like someone sitting on the other side of the door, listening back. Your phone wakes itself with one small tremor. A final message. No timestamp. From you. Thank you. You're not sure what you did right. You breathe anyway. A long exhale that leaves you the little lighter, a little hollow. You don't touch the chalk. You don't touch the door. You sit until the room returns the shape of you. Time moves without telling you. The pipes settle in a different register. The building's bones creak, like someone turning over in a sleep they can't climb out of. You stand, legs prickling pins and needles, and slide to the door. Through the peephole, you see only battery lights and carpet. None of it looks wrong. None of it looks right. The chalk sticks are now dust, soft piles like salt shaken from a pocket. You check the window again because you need a normal thing to do. Across the courtyard, the candle returns to your floor and stops opposite your glass. It hangs there, steady, not quivering like a candle should in a draft. You raise your hand. The flame dips once, like a nod. Your phone stays dark, but you feel the vibration anyway. A phantom message against your palm. You do not raise your hand again. You plug your phone into nothing out of habit. A cable, dead cord, dead outlet. 3% still stares back, stubborn and loyal. The screen casts you in a hospital's worth of blue. You switch it off so fast you nearly drop it, as if numbers can look at you. From somewhere beneath the building, a small engine coughs and catches, practicing a rhythm, almost human. You unlock the chain and open the door an inch. No reason, just a magnet pulling curiosity toward mistake. The hall smells like carpet shampoo and penny dust. Your eye finds your door frame first, as if guided. 2 white lines again. Eye, new, crisp, as if they bloomed through the paint. You close the door softly, the way you close your eyes when a doctor says, "This won't hurt." You do not wipe them this time. You are halfway back to the bathroom when the elevator dings through the walls. Not the normal chime. Lower, like a fork scraped along brass. It dings again, and the sound chooses your bones. You 3-note siren, and the pairs of knocks, and the chalk marks that write themselves. The hallway outside feels longer than it was. You step out anyway, because staying feels like an answer you can't live with. The elevator is open, waiting between floors. You ride because the stairwell smells like hot dust and old food. The elevator doors close without your button lighting up. The cab hums, smooth as a swallowed lie, then stills. Emergency light kicks in, thin, honey-colored, making your face too honest in the brushed steel. You thumb door open. It ignores you, like a pet that's learned a better house. The floor indicator shows nothing you've seen before. No number. Just a pale dash that feels like the absence of a floor, rather than the presence of one. You press the help button. Dial tone, fake sounding in its perfection, and then an operator. Emergency assistance. What's your location? You answer into the ceiling. Paper rustles on their end. The cadence is too clean, like somebody practicing. Remain calm. Do you see any fire? Any smoke? You tell them no. A pause. Then, we've dispatched a technician. Do not attempt to exit. When the doors open, do not step out. It is not your floor. The last line doesn't sound like help. It sounds like a rule. You listen to the cab breathe. The ceiling flexes with tiny pings from cables settling. Somewhere above, something taps. Metal on metal, measured and patient, as if counting how long you'll behave. Your phone shows no service. One bar of battery that refuses to drop. In the silence, you feel time without hearing it, like pressure behind the eyes. The elevator floor is gritty under your shoes, salt and city and the day, and you try to read the grit as omens. The cab shivers and the doors part a sliver, just enough to show you a seam of darkness. Hall air reaches in, carpet and stale cologne and coin-cold chalk like a pocket turned out. The slit is too smooth. It looks planned. You feel wind from someplace that should be still. You do the dumb thing. Bend close. Beyond, the corridor doesn't smell like your building. It smells like a building remembering you wrong. Your eyes adjust, greedy. On the hallway threshold, right where your toes would land, are two white lines drawn across the metal sill. Two. Chalk. Too straight for a child. Too new for dust. You pull back on instinct, and the doors try to help, tugging toward closed with a rubbery kiss. Do not step out, the operator repeats. Voice identical. Pauses identical. Like a recording that has forgotten it's supposed to be human. When the doors finally open, they open wide. The corridor is narrow and long, with doors too close together, peepholes an inch lower than you expect, as if whoever lived here was shorter by design. Exit signs point both directions. Your brain doesn't land on a number, though your eyes search for one. The placards are polished to blanks. Half the doors have the chalk marks. On the others, the chalk is smeared like someone changed their mind at the last second. You hit the help button again because doing anything is relief. The same voice answers, same breath lengths, same paper rustle. You interrupt. What time is it? The voice doesn't match your question. Remain calm. Do you see any fire? Any smoke? The script loops. You could cry or laugh. You choose neither. Your throat, a locked drawer. Somewhere deeper in the building, a small engine coughs and steadies. Generator. But the pitch is almost conversational.
Footsteps enter the corridor sound first, then shadow, then shape. You can't find their body, just a vague suggestion where light refuses to go. They stop just outside your doors. 2 quiet taps on metal, polite, curious. Then lower closer to the floor. 2 more. Your throat tightens. You keep one shoe in the cab like a lifeline, 'cause something in you has decided the elevator is home now, and the hall is the weather.
Halfway down the hall, a door carries a number plate. Not blank, mirrored. Your apartment number, reversed, black on brass. It looks like your front door seen through the wrong end of a telescope. As you stare, a cold glow appears in its peephole. Phone light blue, the exact shade you've seen reflected in your own eyes at 3 in the morning. The glow blinks, slow and patient, like the person behind it knows you. A second voice cuts through static from the panel at your elbow. Tired, unpracticed, real. Stay in the cab. Text opening on 12. Do not step out. You swallow gratitude like medicine. The corridor breathes out. A long exhale you didn't give it permission to take. You check your phone for a time you can trust. The battery clings to 3% like a superstition. You put it away because looking at it feels like opening something. The generator deepens, tone aligning with your breath for one full, terrifying beat, as if your lungs taught it how. It tries again and almost gets your exhale right. Above your head, the panel flickers, and for a blink, the floor indicator shows 3 dots. Then nothing. Your skin prickles like a draft touched it. Copy, you tell the real voice, just to be heard. The corridor returns 2 soft taps, like it understood English for the first time. The doors begin to close on their own. Sweet relief. But the corridor sends you one more gift. From the reverse number door, a whisper that is your voice, practiced through metal. Do not step out. It is almost you, and almost not, like someone wearing your coat and getting your walk right on the 3rd try. Your heel lifts, traitor, and saved. You slap the door close button the way you might slap a hand reaching for you in the dark. The doors pause on resistance. You've left your toe over the line, just enough rubber to smudge the chalk. A dark half-moon bites into white. The marks look like an eclipse halfway finished. The resistance vanishes. The doors seal with a hush that sounds relieved. You hold your breath so long, your body chooses for you when to inhale again. The cab hums, curious and pleased, like a cat you didn't know you owned. Weight returns to your knees. The cab rises, a feeling like forgiveness. The floor indicator finds numbers again, counting up as if it hadn't misplaced them. You think about how quickly a hallway decides you belong. Your reflection in the steel wall looks older. Relief does that. Asks for a fee. You adjust your shoulders as if aliens had borrowed your posture and given it back crooked. The doors open on your floor, your real floor, the scuffed baseboard, the crooked notice about recycling. A distant window throws a square of night on the carpet. No chalk on any doors, no reversed brass, just your life, unremarkable. You step out sideways, one foot, then the other, as if the rules of boats apply. You keep your hand inside to press door close, a gesture like tucking a child into bed. As the doors seal, a last puff of cooler air kisses your knuckles. In the hairline gap, a pale dust clings. Chalk. You don't move until it lets go and drifts, lazy, onto your shoes. It looks like leftover snow. You wonder whether chalk can follow a person without touching them. You decide not to test it tonight. The elevator dings again, the normal chime. It sounds almost embarrassed, like someone clearing their throat after telling a secret in the wrong room. Down the hall, the building exhales. Somewhere outside, a siren plays 3 short notes. In the distance, like a neighbor practicing. You check a clock on the wall. It's battery operated, independent, rightly smug. 3:13 a.m. You walk away, because walking away works on animals, and sometimes on houses. Your door welcomes you like a joke confesses. Inside, your place is still the place that loved you last week. You lean your forehead to the wood. You listen to nothing. It is the kindest nothing you've heard all night. You promise yourself not to use the elevator again until daylight. You don't believe yourself. On your kitchen counter, your notepad sits open. The top sheet bears 2 white smudges. You didn't write them. Chalk wrote itself by simply being near. The smudges align like eye, faint as erased ghosts. You tear the page off and fold it once, as if paper can contain tone. You put it in a drawer you don't open often, a museum for things you aren't ready to name. The elevator moves again through the wall. You feel it more than hear it, sinking, slowing, settling on a floor that doesn't exist on the directory. The motor holds a note, then tries your voice again. It almost says your name. You turn on the tap, just to hear something you can explain. The water runs steady. The apartment listens with you. Hospitals don't go dark. They compromise. On Ward C, the ceiling panels glow a tired orange from emergency circuits, and everything else turns to shadow puppets. You've done night shifts that felt longer, but none with this particular quiet. Like the building is bracing its ribs. The generator coughs, then steadies. It sounds like someone with a secret clearing their throat. Your badge catches a stripe of light and returns it. You wish it would return more. A call light winks on the board. 12C. The room's been empty for months. Cooling unit covered. Bed wrapped in plastic like a cocoon. The red LED pulses anyway. Patient tone, gentle, insistent. You thumb the intercom by habit. Ward C. Static answers. A soft scrape. Then silence. You look down the hall. The door to 12C is closed. Soft seal perfect. The kind of quiet that says it's doing its job too well. Overhead, the hospital's paging system cracks. Dr. Levin to radiology. You remember that call. Yesterday, before the city sneezed out its light. The page repeats, identical down to the breath before radiology, as if the building recorded the day and kept playing it to itself. The clock at the desk is battery, proud in its independence. 3:05 a.m. You tell it, good job, and the second hand ignores your compliment. At 12C, the observation window is black. No monitors, no night glow. On the doorframe, 2 chalk marks rest where eyes wouldn't drift unless invited. Second, they look newer than the dust around them. You rub one with a glove. It leaves nothing on nitrile, only a cooler spot on the paint, as if chalk wrote itself by chilling the air. Your stomach remembers the elevator story you swore you wouldn't repeat, even to yourself. You key the intercom to 12C. A whisper of airflow answers. The negative pressure doing its work behind the glass. Then a knock from inside. 2, polite and measured. You back up as if the air itself had pushed you. Rooms closed. You tell the empty nurse station, in case the building needs reminding. The second pair of knocks come lower, like someone kneeling where the door's sweep would pass. The generator's tone dips and lifts as load shifts across the hospital. For a moment, it matches your breath, then tries to say a word. The syllable dies a mechanical death. The call light for 12C clicks off by itself. You're grateful to a tiny LED like it's a person who decided to behave. You note it in the log because the act of writing feels like changing the world. Family lounge at the end of the hall is all glass. The city beyond is a dark aquarium. But in one apartment across the way, a single candle makes an orange coin in a window. It moves, window to window, floor to floor. You don't believe in being watched until you do. You step back from the lounge glass because you're not ready to be that brave this hour. At the nurse's station, the computer wakes to battery power you didn't know it had. A note pings on the EHR, your login already in place. The text is short, tagged to your username, timestamped 5 minutes from now. Keep 12C sealed. Close windows at 3:17. There are no windows you can open here. You look up anyway, an old habit. The empty ceiling looks back, bland and loyal. Footsteps approach along polished vinyl, the kind that want to be heard. A man in a utility vest turns the corner. Flashlight held chest high, beam respectful. Hard hat, clipboard, a face unmemorable on purpose. Power check, he says softly. You ask for ID you know you won't recognize. He flips a badge, logo you've seen on trucks outside. We're marking doors for follow-up. On his belt, a stub of white chalk rides a loop of tape. He chalks 2 small lines at the base of the electrical closet. 2. Then the medication room. 2. His chalk never squeaks. It whispers. Just noting rooms will recheck, he says. When he approaches 12C, his hand hesitates, like muscle memory, learning restraint. He makes the marks anyway, softer, as if not to wake something. You watch the chalk leave nothing on his fingers. You watch him leave no reflection in the little window of 12C. Inside 12C, 2 knocks arrive again, barely there, like fingernails asking permission. The worker's head tilts, listening. He mirrors the sound with his flashlight. 2 quick taps on the door with the rubber cap. Then 2 lower, almost on the floor. All good, he says, to a room with no patient. He chalks a tiny dot between the eye, like an eye. That helps, he explains, and won't say how. The PA bongs 3 notes. Not the code tone, not the cheerful chime for visiting hours. 3 separated notes, clean as cut paper. Your arm hair lifts like the room cooled an inch. The battery clock says 3:16. You look down the hall at every closed door, and for a second, they look like faces that learned not to blink. You say, "Close what?" to nobody. A door further down answers by swinging shut on its own. On the station computer, your webcam flickers to life. On a dead network, your own face appears, but the you on screen is wearing the badge on the wrong side. And your hair is parted the way you used to do it years ago. The feed loads a caption you didn't type. Do not open 12C. You pull the webcam cover with shaking fingers, the old-fashioned kind you bought when you still worried about ordinary hackers. From inside 12C, a faint hiss starts, like oxygen through a nasal cannula. There's no tank in there. The hiss keeps tempo with the generator, then adjusts to your breathing pace. Inhale, exhale, a beat behind. You feel stupid for testing it, but you hold your breath. The hiss holds, then releases a hair late, learning. You press your palm to the glass. The glass cools your skin like a winter coin. Back in the lounge, the distant apartment's candle is on your hospital's floor line now, opposite your glass. It pauses, steady, unblinking. You raise your hand without meaning to. The flame dips once, acknowledging a routine you do not share. Somewhere behind you, a cart rolls by on its own weight and stops with a soft bump against a wall. You do not turn around. The EHR pings again. The note that warned you timestamps itself to the present. A second line appears under your username. None of your keys in motion. Thank you. You look for prank, for tech glitch, for the coworker you like least to blame. The station is a still life. Stethoscope, pens, the smell of sanitizer and coffee ghosts. Gratitude hanging in air, without a mouth to say it, makes your throat tight. At 12C, the soft seal sighs. The door latency changes. No visible movement, just the way the frame holds itself. It feels like attention. You stand to the side, like training taught you, and say, "No entry." Your voice comes back, a fraction late from inside. Same words, same tone, like a movie slightly out of sync. The chalk marks look whiter now, as if fed. You don't touch them. The PA's 3 notes return, distant and exact. Every auto door in sight soft closes, as if on cue. The automatic blinds in the NICU down the hall draw themselves with the hiss of careful fabric. The clock ticks over to 3:17. Somewhere far below, the generator holds a vowel for a beat too long. The sound a person makes when a word almost arrives. You feel the air cool from the inside. The call light for 12C doesn't come back on. The paging system clears its throat and remembers today. A monitor up the hall shows a heartbeat trace, demo mode looping, as if a patient slept perfectly through statistics. You place a sticky note on 12C anyway. Do not open. There's kindness in redundancy. As you turn, the chalk on the jamb blurs a fraction. Like breath fog on glass, you thank the room under your breath, because gratitude leaves less of a mark than fear. You start rounds like it's any other night. Vitals, eyes, ears, the small kindnesses. Ward C hums under your shoes, a little proud it kept itself together. Down in the bones of the building, the generator tries your name one more time. It nearly gets it right. You pretend it said, "Good night," because that's a story you can leave at the nurse's station and pick up tomorrow, like it's waiting exactly where you put it. When the grid goes, the country doesn't scream, it inhales. You step onto the porch, and the sky is suddenly honest, stars like grains of ice. The well pump has stopped its tireless thinking. Crickets adjust to the new rules. Far off, a line of pines makes a black seam against a bigger black. You tell yourself you like it quieter out here. The generator sits behind the shed, a red-bellied animal with teeth for fuel. You prime, choke, pull. The cord tugs you toward itself, refusing to be dragged into work. On the 4th yank, it coughs awake. Each piston a small decision to keep going. The sound travels through the ground into your feet, a language of vibration. It's relief that feels like guilt, because you've traded silence for something that sounds like a promise being rehearsed. Inside, you crank the emergency weather radio, the plastic kind that's half toy, half lifeline. It gives you 3 clean tones in a row. Not a warning, just a test that hits your teeth like tuning forks. You wait for a voice you trust. Static thoughtfully disagrees. On the kitchen table, the window latches look suddenly important in the dim, like metal that's better at decisions than you are. Out back, the generator settles into a rhythm that could be mistaken for breathing if you wanted to. You don't. You finish the loop around the house, checking windows like a ritual. On the 3rd corner, the exhaust shifts pitch, the way a throat clears when it wants to say something. Then a syllable stumbles out, a wrong-shaped okay, stretched by heat and metal. You tell yourself it was wind. The wind goes still to let you hear better. At the mailbox where the gravel road begins, someone has chalked 2 short white lines on the post. You hold your phone up for a picture you can prove later. 3%, no bars, a blue rectangle of faith. Chalk under country starlight feels like graffiti on a church. You rub it with your thumb. It leaves nothing on skin, only a coolness that sinks to the bone, like you touched running water. Back at the porch, the first pair of knocks arrives, a polite rhythm on wood, as if a visitor learned how to be a neighbor. You freeze where the boards remember the weight of old boots. The second pair comes lower, somewhere near the threshold, like knuckles testing the gap. You don't ask who. You know the answer is a voice you'll wish you hadn't met. You walk to the generator, because facing one worry makes you feel equal to the rest. Its hum has layered itself. Baseline, mid, and a high whisper that rides on top like a note you can barely hold. The whisper keeps time with your steps. When you stop, it stumbles, embarrassed, then recovers on your inhale. You say, "Don't." It echoes, "Do," as if speaking is a hill it hasn't learned to climb. You kill the engine to refuel, and the sudden quiet makes your ears hum with phantom noise. The can gulps and burps. The smell of gas carries every summer you owned a mower. You restart. The generator clears its throat like an actor called back on stage. It tries your name and misses by a letter, like a relative who never got it quite right. You feel stupid for answering out loud, but the apology arrives anyway. "Sorry." A reflective vest appears at the edge of the road, beam of a flashlight, careful and slow. "Evening," the man calls, voice friendly, practiced. Utility patch, clipboard, hat with a brim. You ask for ID, because the dark asks for new rules. He taps the smart meter with his pen, nods at the steady digits, then chalks I on the wood trim by your back door. "Follow-ups," he says. The chalk feels colder than the night air. The weather radio coughs itself alive again. "Close your windows at 3:17. A calm voice says, no county name, no alert code, just a household instruction. The voice repeats, exact cadence, like a teacher reading from a card. You walk the perimeter, latching frames that stick in summer and seal in winter. Each click is a small treaty with a bigger world. The old landline, a wall phone for storms like this, rings once. You pick up to static, shaken into words by distance. It's your mother's voice from 10 years ago, saying your name the way she used to when you were late. Then your voice, flatter, repeats, "Don't open on the second pair." You hang up because you're good at obeying people who sound like you. The porch screen breathes in and out without moving. A diaphragm for the house. 2 knocks. Then 2 lower. The generator picks up the rhythm, adding a patient purr at each beat. "Power check," a voice offers gently. You don't answer. Your hand finds the deadbolt like it has practiced in secret. The door listens to your pulse, the way a dog lays its head on a knee, to learn what mood you're in. Morning sweat chills too fast on your wrist as you reach for the chalk marks by the back door. Your sleeve smears them into a pale fog that evaporates as you watch. You exhale into the smear. It brightens, lines sharpening back into form's eye, like frost drawing itself on glass. You don't try again. You don't move for a long time, letting your breath stop being a paintbrush. From beyond the tree line, the 3-note siren returns, clean as a plucked string. The generator mimics it, a fraction flat, a dog trying to sing. You laugh despite yourself, then stop, because laughter sounds like an invitation. In the yard, the metal windmill doesn't spin, but its vanes whisper anyway, turning choices into sounds. 3:16 glows on your phone like a dare. The radio, as if nearby clocks are contagious, says the time aloud. 3:16. You turn the last latch. The glass is cold on the inside. Outside, the corn doesn't move, but its tassels blur. Like a thing you aren't supposed to see, picked up speed, then slowed, then chose a middle to disguise it. 3:17 happens like a curtain pulled. The 3 notes arrive, close and measured. Every window in the house that could slam does, even the ones you latched, closing a second time as if for emphasis. The front door handle turns just enough to discover its range of motion, then stops, polite. The generator holds one low vowel, like a choir boy testing a church. Something slides under the door, nudged by 2 soft taps. Not paper. A service ticket made of plastic, the kind that lives on clipboards. Blank fields, check boxes, room for names and meters. Across the top, someone has pressed chalk hard enough to emboss I. You back away without picking it up. The ticket smells like cold coin and chalk dust that never touched fingers. The generator throttles down without being told, catching its breath the way you just did. Then your name again, nearly right, and after, thank you. Each consonant pulled through a wire fence. You whisper, "You're welcome," because it's easier than silence. The engine idles like gratitude, a sound your bones decide to trust for tonight only. You check the mailbox at the road again, with a flashlight you hold like a weapon. The post carries fresh eye, crisp and almost luminous, as if it wrote itself while you were inside, learning how to breathe again. You aim the light farther down the dirt lane. 2 pale marks gleam on the old fence gate too, perfectly waist-high. They feel like an itinerary. Across the pasture, a farmhouse window lights with a single candle, a human dot on a quilt of land. You raise your hand. The flame dips with the careful respect of someone who has learned to acknowledge across a distance. You tell yourself city courtyards and cornfield distances are the same shape in the dark. Tomorrow you will decide if that helps. Your building folds into itself during the outage. Stairwells exhale battery breath. Hall carpets swallow footfalls. From your window, the opposite building becomes stacked black mirrors. One square glows with a single candle. It moves, a floor at a time, window to window, same pace, like a ritual being checked off. You lift your hand to wave at nothing, and the candle stalls, then dips once. You freeze, embarrassed by the hello you didn't plan. Your phone's screen is a pale coin on your palm. 3% again, stubborn. You cup it against the glass to hide the glow. The candle lifts, as if testing whether you'll give it another instruction. You thumb your flashlight and blink a clumsy Morse you half remember. SOS. Across the gap, the candle answers in patient time. 3, then 3, then 3. You risk more. DONTOPEN. The flame hesitates, then nods once, steady as a metronome refound. Somewhere down the block, 3 notes sound flawless and far too calm. You fog your window with a breath and draw 2 short lines with your fingertip. 2 across. The candle smears its light across the glass, as if pressured by a hand you can't see. 2 brighter stripes appear, a mirror of yours. You wipe yours away. Theirs linger, as if their glass prefers honesty. A sheet of printer paper lifts in the opposite window like a school presentation. Thick black marker, block letters, close windows at 3:17. The candle warms the page like a teacher's desk lamp. You look down your own hall toward a kitchen window you always forget is cracked. You go close it like you've practiced all your life. In the wall behind you, an elevator bell dings, the tone a half step lower, like it's been awake too long. You don't want to think about between floors. You want to think about islands of light across urban oceans. Your phone vibrates with a phantom message you don't let yourself check. Across the courtyard, the paper returns with your name in thick marker, first and last. Your stomach drops, stupid and immediate. You back up like the glass lunged. Then, underneath, smaller, thank you. You haven't done anything, but gratitude lands like a blanket anyway. Footsteps in your hallway have the courtesy of a neighbor and the cadence of a clock. 2 knocks on a door, 3 apartments down. 2 more lower. The building holds its air, and you can feel everyone else listening at once. You don't need peepholes to know that. Silence, then the soft chalk whisper of marks made on paint. Across, another sign. Do not look through peepholes after the second pair. You wonder how many times a person writes a rule before it becomes law. In the candle's wake, the sign curls a little as if warmed by breath. You hold your own breath in sympathy, then let it go, embarrassed. On the floor across from your view, a hallway door opens inward, like a mirror image of your building's layout. Its brass number is your number. Backward, worn at the corners the way yours is. A cold phone light blue fills its peephole, the color of a bad night's best friend. The door closes gently, the way you close books you're not done with. 3:14 glows on your microwave. Dead, yet the display persists. A memory refusing to surrender. Across the gap, the candle slows its pace, chooses your floor, and stays. You whisper to nobody, "Stay there," and the flame obeys like a dog too far to hear you, but close enough to know. Down in the courtyard's narrow throat, reflective vests cross beams of flashlight like moths deciding which porch to die on. Utility logos look official, enough to calm parents and old dogs. One worker draws II on the basement door to your building and taps twice with a gloved knuckle. The basement returns the sound, an octave lower. Footsteps stop outside your place. 2 knocks, polite. Pause. 2 more, closer to the floor, the way a child might knock to be funny. You watch your own front door from the safety of across the courtyard glass, like a scene you're not allowed to interrupt. You don't move. You feel the chalk being written anyway. 3:16. The candle trembles one uncharacteristic time, a tiny quake, then steadies as if told to. You close the small kitchen window that always sticks and locks with the tender violence of old hinges. 2 floors below, a window slams itself shut with an insulted sound. You flinch for a stranger. The 3 notes arrive from between buildings, cutting the air into equal pieces. They sound as if someone tuned the city to a human throat. Across, your candle doesn't flicker. It bows its flame like respect. You stand in your socks and try not to think of the elevator as a throat, too. Windows throughout both buildings slam once, then again, like a reminder sent to a person who swears they didn't get the first one. Air pressure shifts through your apartment, a gentle shove that rearranges nothing and suggests everything. Your front door handle moves half an inch in a slow test, then retreats, polite as always. A soft slide scrape travels under your door and stops against your hallway runner. You don't need to look to know it's chalk. You look anyway, because people are predictable. 2 short sticks, clean as bone, roll and rest. Your name arrives across the courtyard, again in marker, underlined once. You bow your head because your body thinks it's church. You open, chain on, and wipe the marks off your doorframe with your sleeve. The chalk refuses to stain fabric, just chills your skin through cotton. Across, the sign flips to a new word, good. The candle dips once, as if relieved. Down below, someone laughs in the courtyard the way a recording laughs. Perfect timing, no throat. The paper across disappears. The candle stays, pushing warm against glass. Then, like the wiggle of a goldfish at feeding time, the flame writes by movement alone. THANK, pause, YOU. It shouldn't be possible. It doesn't matter. You say you're welcome to a building, because tonight the options are that or nothing. The vests reach your landing. Their flashlights trace your thresholds without touching them. They chalk your neighbor's door, skip yours, then chalk the elevator itself, like a person. 2. A radio on one hip mutters a 3-note tone, and then, low and wrong, your voice. The elevator opens to dark. The crew waits for you to decide what story you're in. You're the super tonight because the real one got stuck out of town. Keys like small brass teeth hang from your belt. The building is a pet that wants to behave, you tell yourself. In the lobby, battery lights shine the color of old teeth. The glass shows your face and the city's absence behind it. 2 workers arrive at the glass with perfect manners. Vests, hard hats, clipboards. Their breath, clouds in sync. Their smile lines are practiced, like lines from a play. You buzz them in, because the alternative is pretending you can keep a building safe with a look. Outage crew, one says. The other writes something without looking down. On the basement door, they chalk 2, like whispering in white. On the electrical room, 2, again. Recheck, they say. It sounds like a prayer. Their chalk leaves no dust. Your fingers, when you touch it, come away colder. Down the hall, the elevator sighs and opens to a floor that isn't here. One worker's radio burps 3 precise notes, then says your name in a tone your old answering machine used. You look for the mouth that spoke and find a speaker instead, its grill spotless. You say, something's off. The worker nods, writing on his clipboard, off, in block letters no one reads. On 3, in front of 312, they mark. On 5, they mark 5B and the linen closet. They skip 4, as if numbers are personal preference. You follow, and your keys jangle unhelpfully. Tenants listen through wood, 100 held breaths, practicing the same paragraph. Your building's intercom tries an announcement and coughs up yesterday's trash reminder. Word for word, the same stumble after cardboard. The vests glance at the speaker with an affection you don't like. They tap the elevator call, and it opens to a floor indicator that shows a pale dash, like math, with the answer erased. They demonstrate the knock they want you to trust. Too polite, then too lower, almost on the threshold. Folks respond better to patterns, says the taller one. You think of dogs and children and metronomes. You say you'll remember, then promise yourself you won't. On 6, the door of 612 opens a crack against the chain. Ward C, the woman whispers, as if that's a password and not a haunted wing. You say, keep your window shut at 317. She nods like someone who saw a note in a chart no one else did. She shuts the door softly, as if not to wake the hallway. Opposite 708, a single candle glows in a window, steady as a spine. The worker pauses to watch it the way some people watch fish tanks. He doesn't chalk this door. He smiles at the flame as if he expects it to write his name. It doesn't. It dips once. No more. They stop at your apartment, your keys, your mugs in the sink. Your fault if anything goes wrong. The taller one raises chalk. You say no. He lowers it, smiling as if you passed. Then he reaches anyway and makes the lines softer than breath. 2. Just in case, he says. The chalk chills the paint. In the basement, the generator coughs itself awake. You didn't start it. It chooses a hum that finds the exact space between your ribs that anxiety rents by the month. It tries your voice and almost says, okay, then gets bored and says your name nearly right. The shorter worker says, it's learning, like praise. You ask for a name, a badge, anything you can photocopy in your mind. He flips his lanyard. The logo is real. The font is wrong by a letter you can feel, not see. On the back, a room number is handwritten, 12C. You hand it back like it's warm from someone else's pocket. Hospitals are busy, he says, pleased with nothing. You make a plan that sounds like leadership when spoken fast. Everyone keep windows closed at 317. If they chalk your door, wipe it. If they knock in pairs, do not open. Your own voice on the intercom comes back a fraction late and slightly wrong, like a student repeating a teacher to learn the words, not the meaning. A child cries once, then remembers how to hide sound in a pillow. The vests chalk the elevator itself again, as if doors can be invited. A neighbor wipes his frame with a dish towel and looks surprised when the lines come back sharper. You put a hand on his shoulder. Again, you say. Harder. 3:16 arrives like a held note. The generator below finds a harmony it didn't have. Across the street, windows you can't see slam for people you'll never meet. Your building inhales the way a crowd does before a game-changing play. The taller worker sets a hand on the elevator doors as if greeting a friend. 3 notes ring through the shaft, through the radiators, through the notches in your keys. Doors across floors close with the certainty of magnets. The generator holds a low vowel you feel in ankles and teeth. Handles turn just enough to prove physics still applies. Then stop, polite, patient, practiced. On 2, a door unchains itself. The tenant steps forward as if sleepwalking. You shout their name. Your voice is late by a fraction, replayed by the intercom. The shorter worker doesn't look up. He marks the stair door with I and adds a small centered dot like an I. Then he smiles to himself. Checked box in a private form. On 5, an elderly couple opens to ask a question that doesn't matter. You wipe their chalk marks with your sleeve. The cold eats through fabric like steam in reverse. The marks fade, then try to return. Not tonight, you tell the door, and it decides to obey you. The couple closes and locks and breathes loud enough for you to hear joy. 3:17 ends without announcing itself. The building exhales, a satisfied animal. The generator says your name correctly once and falls quiet like a kid finally asleep. The taller worker ticks his clipboard and says, "Good night," with no mouth involved. They head for the lobby. The elevator opens on its own to darkness and a floor that doesn't exist. They get in anyway. Morning is still hours away, but the first bird decides differently. On your floor, chalk dust collects where you wiped and looks like salt spilled with intent. At your own door, there's no mark, only a handwritten note slid under. Thank you. The handwriting is yours. You don't remember writing it. You leave it on the floor until the sun can have an opinion.